Hello, you must be here for your proctology exam, Mr. Vandover. Well, let's get right to it. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, wrong person. Hi guys, it's Dan from DG Undead Forge. Just ignore that. That's just a backdoor business, you know. So today I'm going to show you how you can electrically etch your knife at home for very inexpensively. So what you're going to need is a very old, 20 plus years ago, battery charger. This one is a 12 volt, 1.5 amp battery charger. The reason why you want the old ones is because the old ones don't have a anti-short circuit sensor, which is good and bad. It's good for you for etching your blade, but if you don't wear gloves, you can get a good shock from this. Then it's unfun. Come on, let's get to the video. This is the battery charger. I got this at a yard sale. I think I got it for like less than 10 bucks. So this is an old battery charger. Now you can tell something's kind of old. These things don't usually have dates on them. But if you look closely at the red coloring, if you're not colorblind, the red and black wires seem kind of faded. Kind of like how when you see like a bag of chips that's been outside, you know, an empty bag of chips that's been outside and it gets sun bleach, and just because it's so old, it loses the color. So these don't have the anti-short circuit switch. So these are great, but you have to be careful. I recommend wearing gloves. You don't necessarily have to wear gloves, but I got shocked by this thing when my hands were wet from the salt solution. But you're going to need your knife. You're going to need a salt water solution. All I did was fill this up with water, and I kept pouring salt in it, just regular table salt. I used non-iodized salt, so just use some sea salt. And I just kept on mixing it and mixing it and mixing it and adding more salt until there was no more salt dissolving into the water. So that's when you know it's a very concentrated solution. Then you're going to need your leads. So this is just a piece. This is just a piece of iron or steel. It came out of like an old toy that needed the weight. And this is a piece of felt. And then a rubber band. So you just need a felt. You can see I've used this before, so it's got some rust. So you're going to need that. And you're going to make sure that when you do this, that you have the blade nice and cleaned. So you're going to find your spot. It's going to be right around there. It'll be right around there, where my thumb is. You want to make sure you clean off, get all the grease off, just so to make sure it doesn't interfere with the etch. Now this battery charger, if you can see, I have it hooked up to an old Variac. I happen to have a Variac. You don't need to use a Variac. All a Variac is some way that you can plug something that needs to have variable control of the voltage. This machine, this battery charger does not need variable control for the voltage, but what it does need is an easy on-off switch, because this battery charger turns on the moment you plug it in. You can substitute the Variac for a regular power strip. I just couldn't find an extra one that I had. So you're also going to need some tape. So let's get going to the tape. Alright guys, so you're going to need to grab your stencil. You can look online. Different companies will make stencils. You want to make sure that you go through a company that you'll reuse, because you can get stencils that you can reuse multiple times. I've already used this stencil a few times. As you can see on this knife, that was my first time using the stencil. This was my hot stamp, and you see I have like a double, triple strike because it was hard to get it struck properly. And then this was a previous video that I tried to do this, but the audio was crap. So you're going to find a spot on your blade. Oh, we got a little grease spot where I don't want it. We're just going to clean that off. You just want to make sure it's clean. you're going to get your stencil. And it's not mirrored, it's just like how you see it. You want to make sure. So this is my stencil. Little DG with the arrow. I'll explain in a later video what that's about. But you're going to get some tape. You want to make sure it's nice and tight on there. But you want to tape all the way around it. So right now, I only have tape on the top and the bottom. If you don't tape the sides, the salt will leach out and it'll start etching and make it look like you have some hammer strikes or some decarb. So you want to fully tape. Now that we have the logo fully taped around the edges, you want to get your gloves on just so you don't get shocked. It's not pleasant, but you just don't want to risk it because some people might not realize they have a weak heart. I have a pacemaker defibrillator, so I could, if it doesn't turn it off, I could technically survive if I got badly put out of rhythm, but you don't want to risk it. So I've seen some people, they get a piece of cloth, small piece of cloth or a paper towel, and they put it right over the logo, and that'll just help the salt water from trying to leach out, because the electric current will follow the salt water because it's conductive, and you don't want it to leach and start etching in different parts of your blade. So you get your salt solution. I already have this pre-made. I shook it up previously. You want to hook up your lead. Black is always the current part for DC. Red is the positive. So you want to hook up the blade. So you're going to want to hook up the blade. Now we're going to turn the variac on, or if you have a power strip, you turn the power strip on that the battery charge is plugged into. Now you're going to dip in the salt solution. It's very hard to hear from the camera, but there's a very slight sizzle. The sizzle sound, like a frying pan sizzle, that's when you know that it's etching. And when you really start hearing it, that's when you know you have enough salt water that it's actually conducting well. And I recommend practicing on not finished knives, because you have to figure out how long you have to etch it for to how deep you want to get it. But a good reason to have everything taped off, because if you don't tape it off, watch what will happen. See that? And the tang? That'll get scrubbed off. But that just electrically etched the tang. So that's why you want to make sure you practice taping it off and get it just right. Now we're going to turn it off and see how we're doing. As you see, it's actually a pretty deep etch. And it's deep enough that even if I have to do a little bit more grinding and sanding, it won't come out. Alright guys, so what did we learn today? Wear your gloves. Don't hire a backdoor practitioner, proctologist. But yeah, besides all the jokes and stuff, be safe, wear eye protection, You don't want salt water that's mixed with stuff in your eye. But this is actually my best etch yet. And you just have to practice with it. So if you want to support my channel, subscribing really helps. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. I have links to my my social media, and also I'm going to have my Patreon link. So if you want to help me make better videos besides subscribing, if you want to donate $1 here or there to my Patreon, or if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, I'll put that in the link in the description. But thank you guys so much. Be safe, Forge on, and have a good heart.
What you're about to see is bloopers and what is to come.
That is my rendition of Shakespeare. Thank you.